Hey my YouTube friends, in this video I'm going to talk to you about your body language, the non-verbal signals and the do's and the don'ts. So I hope that you are excited and let's get started. Okay, so let's start with this. How would you feel if I talked to you like this? Just imagine that I talk to you like this. I start my video and I say, hi guys, what's going on? Today we will talk to you about your body language. How do you feel? You say I made a mistake there. And the reason I made a mistake is probably because I actually don't feel very good. I don't feel good in this posture. And if I ask you, how do you perceive me in terms of my confidence and charisma from 1 to 10? When I'm talking to you like this, what would you say? Usually when I do it with live audiences, people say 1, 2, sometimes 3. But what about now? What if I sit down straight? What if I open up? I have more expression in me, more energy. I modulate my voice. I use my hands. I show you my palms. Changes everything dramatically. Now, it may not be 10. Some of you may perceive this still as 8 or 9, right? But it's significantly better. So clearly what you do with your body has a tremendous impact on how people perceive you, but also on how you feel about yourself. Because again, when I was doing this, I didn't feel very energetic and charismatic. Now I feel all the difference. Now I want you to do it for yourself and see how you will feel. And you will notice a massive difference. And the reason I'm talking about it right from the get-go is because oftentimes we get into this hide mode. So when you don't feel very comfortable in a situation, when you don't feel very confident, what happens? Well, it's reflected in your body language. So now you start slouching and you start looking down. And maybe you cover yourself like this. And guess what? That sends a signal to your brain that says, I don't feel very confident. I'm not very comfortable. So that only exacerbates everything. So you slouch even more. And you start literally hiding in your seat. Or if you're standing, you may be by the wall in the corner, hiding, looking down. And look, most of us had those situations. You are at a conference, you are at some networking event, and you literally start retreating into the corner and you start hiding. Or maybe you are at a party, or perhaps even in your office at a team gathering, right? And again, you may notice that you know that you may have to speak up in a second. Someone will ask you a question eventually, and you fear it so much, you start retreating and you want to hide, right? Like subconsciously, you literally want to hide underneath the table. So then what happens is when someone actually asks you a question, hey, can you tell us what your team has been doing over the last week? Well, now you are like this. So you don't feel very good. You don't feel very confident. And to go from here to now delivering a compelling speech, it's pretty much impossible, right? So the first thing you have to remember about this, we don't want to get into this hide mode. And if you get into it, you want to snap out. You want to recognize what you are doing, bam, and you want to snap yourself out. I know it will feel a bit counterintuitive. It may feel a bit strange because when you don't feel comfortable, it's not natural to open up. But what I have to tell you is if you do it, after the first initial seconds of discomfort, you will start feeling better. And eventually, if you adopt a confident, powerful body language, it will change everything in terms of how you perceive yourself, but also how other people perceive you. So what are some of the rules? What are some of the do's and don'ts? Well, first of all, the posture. Posture is everything, right? A lot of people slouch. I used to be one of them. I used to always be like this. And to this day, I have to remind myself not to slouch. I got much better at it. And the reason is that I've been just brainwashing myself. Hey, don't slouch, Jimmy. I've been reminding myself. I've been literally setting reminders on my phone. I've been using those different devices that keep your back straight. And I got to the point where now, the moment I slouch, bam, I remind myself. So imagine that there's a string going through your spine all the way to the top of your head. And imagine that someone is pulling that string, right? So when you slouch, imagine that someone is pulling that string. That's number one, okay? Number two, embrace the open position. Don't cross your arms. Okay, a lot of people, they just cross their arms and they say, well, this makes me feel comfortable. And I get it. It may feel comfortable, but it also makes you feel more defensive and appear more defensive. Ever had a situation when you are sharing some type of idea with one of your colleagues and they say something in the lines of, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I agree with you. Do you see this? Do you feel it? Right? I say, I agree with you, but my body language says something completely different. Whenever someone does this, it usually suggests, I'm not sure about what's happening here. I may be a bit defensive. right? I want to create a shield in between both of us. Now, there are exceptions to the situation. If it's really cold outside, maybe someone just wants to warm up. And some people are just hardwired to do this. But in the vast majority of cases, when someone does this, it suggests, well, they may not be fully open to whatever is happening, and perception becomes reality. So open up. Now, by the way, when you open up, when you show your palms, it's hardwired in our brains. We are very tribal creatures, that this is a sign of trust. Because think about it, back in the day, if somebody walked up to you like this, right? Or even like this, like you don't know, maybe I have a knife, maybe I have some weapon here. Right? I say that I come in peace, but maybe I'm going to pull something out. You don't know. If I come up to you like this, now you know I don't have any weapons on me. You know I come in peace. Now you feel like you can trust me. And this is why when you speak to people, you want to show your palms, right? You want to open up because it creates a lot of trust and openness. Super, super important. Okay, so the final thing I want to talk to you about is your energy, right? How you move your body. This is so important because I could technically open up, sit down straight, and talk to you like this all the time. And this probably wouldn't feel very charismatic. You probably wouldn't feel very captivated right now. But the moment I move my arms, the moment I move my body, I gesticulate, right? I change my facial expressions. It creates charisma. Now you feel like you want to watch this, right? You're curious, what will this guy say? I want to tune in. This is so important. So how do you do it? Now, obviously, this is a short video. Don't have the time to go deep into all the different strategies. But what I want to tell you, and this is something I've learned over the years, is that if you want to come across as a charismatic person, authentic person, you just have to be congruent. So whatever you feel, whatever you're talking about has to be congruent with what you do with your body. Because, for example, I could say to someone, hey, I really love you. I really, really love you. This is not congruent. Or as I told you right at the beginning, I really agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you, right? This is not congruent. I'm saying one thing verbally, but I'm projecting a completely different thing with my nonverbal signals. So you want to make sure that whatever you say, the body language that expresses that thought or that idea or that emotion is congruent to it. You have to have that authenticity. And one of the fundamental ways to do it is to be present, to literally embrace the present moment and to feel the emotions, to fully focus on what you are saying. That's how you create congruency. If I'm telling you about a beautiful trip I did to some waterfall and I'm really present in that moment, and as I'm telling you that story, I can vividly see that waterfall and I feel the emotions, naturally everything will come out of my body. But if I'm talking to you and I'm not focused, I'm not in the present moment, but I'm overthinking what you may think about me and how you may reject me, how you may not like what I have to say. If I keep thinking about my to-do list and all the things that I have to take care of for the next month, if I keep thinking about all of those things, I'm not in the present moment. So I may be saying one thing, but then my body is somewhere else. And that's why oftentimes you see people talking about exciting things, but their bodies project something completely different. So again, being present, getting into the present moment and embracing it, forgetting about the past, forgetting about the future, being here and now, and feeling all of your emotions and allowing them to flow through your body. This makes all the difference. Again, this is not easy. It takes some time, takes some implementation, but I want you to practice it initially with your friends and your family members, right? Catch yourself not being present and bring yourself back to the present moment. Today, when you have a conversation with one of your friends, I want you to commit yourself to be right here and right now, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Decide, I'm gonna be here and now. I'm not going to think about the future. I'm not going to think about the past. I'm going to be here and now with that friend. And I'm going to fully engage in the conversation. And whenever I say something, I will feel it with my entire body. And I'm going to allow that energy to flow through my body. And when you start doing that, you will see that naturally, gradually, but naturally, you will become more flowy. You will become more charismatic. You will realize that instead of being stifled all the time and feeling this tension, you let it go and people will perceive it in a completely different way. Okay, so go out there, try it for yourself. Let me know how it goes. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna see you in the next one.